He's a lady, one of the restoration workers says, or she has a filled pet in her. Their thorough job gives way to the mummified flesh of a little kid, on 10-year ancient, bent up in the embryonic stance. Her dead is slight more than rather than leathered leather and crippled bones. Her person is iced in terror, eyes convex, jaw broad outdoor. The team believes she was annihilated once for the fight for Mosul's old town, that ended almost 6 months back. No one knows who she is or wherever her parents are. The gray toy bunny in dark blue glasses and a rose pullover near her is the just way any residing household members would be capable to identification her. Perhaps who will identify, same plaything, and later we can identification her, Hazem Mohammed, the Conduct Save employee, says. A photo of the lady and her rabbit will be added to a increasing by the government database of the unused corpse. She is one of an alleged 10,000 human beings annihilated in the 9-month-long fight to capture Iraq's other largest town of ISIS, onto Mosul's municipal government head Abdul Sattar al-Habbo. How drawing isn't formally recognized by Iraq forces or the joint state war, that claims coalition airstrikes annihilated about 300 human beings in Mosul. But for the survivors, it is not a question of numbers, it's a question of confirming which the residents of Mosul lose, and the cost they pay. A cemetery by the Kabul/strong on the campaigning path, U.S. CEO Donald Trump card vowed to bombshell the Hades out of ISIS. One day in office space, he executed Howe pledge by delegating more credibility and independence to his generals, enabling officers on the land in Iraq and in another place to conduct a more than violent policy in their length-running war on terror. It was a judgment welcomed and applauded by Iraq's safety forces, who incurred large human loss in the first months of fight. We were capable to get more than airstrikes by the Trump card authority rather than by ex-CEO Obama, Main General Najim al-Yaburi, captain of the Mosul transactions told. Up Trump card took office space, it took much longer, to urge in an air raid, now the period it conducted is shortened rather than up and we include nice results. The Baron of the Old Town is testimony of how the more than violent policy play out on the land. Few buildings are yet permanent, largest of them were pancaked by airstrikes. The ones how remained erect are slight more than rather than speckled shells. Driven piles of twisted metal and burnt out husks of cars yet link roads how were purified by bulldozers for Iraq military to attract in road-to-road battles their recent year. And under the mountains of Kabul put a cemetery of lives lose in the fierce struggle. Lot harmless human beings were attached downward in their homes or utilized as humane shields by ISIS, trapped in the medium and annihilated in the crossfire. The ones who lose/strong Mustafa Nader says he couldn't expect any much longer for the by the government to email diggers. Sames go in his loved ones and a solitary spade to discover the flesh of their large gaffer. The 23-year-old pulls off at the stacks of rugged rock, his searching managed by just one item, the smell of disintegration. He's there, he's there. The odor is powerful, one of the youthful men shouts. Else grabs the spade and they start the eerie job of disclosure the skeletal remnant. Which I recall largest is he favorite a believer female, Nader says of his large gaffer. Her household wouldn't enable them to get marital. The year gone and he became an old person, but he remained solitary. Before his recent breathing he was talk of his loving for her. He lived one and dead one, Nader adds. Which's the spot of our lives. Permanent in the rubble of his historical household close the tiger inland in the old town, Saeed Jurgis cannot see how the as-called win above ISIS belongs to him. ISIS won by suffering us. And America won by suffering us. No one of them was conquered there. We are the just ones who lose, he says. In the definitive days of the fight, ISIS militants constrained the Jurgis household out of their household and utilized it as a fight stance. Days after it was equalized in a coalition air raid. I criticize the Americans since their bomb was so fierce. To murder one ISIS man they would flame a missile cost millions and bang downward 10 homes, Jurgis says. They, coalition, utilized barbarian strength. Love Anything on Land /Strong. A months-long inquiry by the related clique found how among 9,000 and 11,000 civilian population were annihilated in Mosul, a tertiary of them of coalition airstrikes. Mosul's by the government has acquired several 9,000 customer requests of residents concerning lacking persons. Largest of them were recent seen in the Old Town and are believed to be buried by the rubble. And in the months following ISIS was conquered, among August and December 2017, the Regional Public Health Division acquired on 3,000 bodies, on to Laith Hababa, the Public Health CEO of Nineveh Provincial, wherever Mosul is arranged. The Iraq by the government has set a board to explore the losing of lifetime, but residents say they include slight belief in a equitable or exact trial. All is denial, Habo says of the die duty. Yet the scope of the destroying is Love Anything on Land. The Old Town is 100% ruined. Habo estimates down there are yet thousands buried by the Kabul. Almost 6 months following the fight ended, down there are as well yet bodies suppurative out in the outdoor. Survivors scope the apocalyptical scenery in a stupor, trying to restore which is leftward of their favorite ones. Mosul inhabitant Mahmoud Shukr remembers hurriedly burial several 100 human beings in the yard of his regional masjid as bombs and missile strike rain downward on his neighborhood. They are massive graves. Down there are 4 persons to 5 human beings in every A, Shukr says as he points out the unchecked mounds of mud by that whole families were laid down to otherwise. 3 boys, brothers, are down there, he says, gesticulating to one embankment. Their dad comes one day a 1 week in chocolate bar, biscuits, baking soda, all their favorite things, and fair sits.